First, let's begin with an introduction. What is subject-verb agreement? In subject-verb agreement, there is this thing called perspective. Perspective refers to who or what is being talked about. Perspective includes first person, that's the writer or the speaker, I or we. Second person, which is the listener or reader, you. And third person, another person or thing. Perspective also depends on number, how many. In English, perspective is divided into two, singular meaning one, and plural meaning two or more. Now, an interesting thing in English is that we have this thing I call zero nouns. That's when you add no in front of a noun. For countable nouns, zero nouns are actually plural, so no cars. Also, interesting fact, some languages like Arabic actually have three perspectives, singular, dual, meaning two, and plural, three or more. So what does that mean? Perspective is divided this way. You've got first person singular I, first person plural we. Second person singular and plural are both you. And then third person singular he, she, and it. And third person plural, they. For subject-verb agreement, everything comes down to he, she, and it. Third person singular. Absolutely most important. So, subject-verb agreement. This means that the form of the verb changes depending on the subject of the clause. Some languages like Japanese, Mandarin Chinese do not have subject-verb agreement rules. The form of the verb stays the same for all subjects. For example, the Japanese verb for work, which is hataraku. You would say, watashi wa hataraku, anata wa hataraku, kanojo wa hataraku, watashi tachi wa hataraku, anata tachi wa hataraku, and karera wa hataraku. No matter the subject, I, you, she, we, they, the verb stays the same. Or in Chinese, the verb study, shui. You say, 我学, 你学, 他学, 我们学, 你们学, 他们学. The verb doesn't change regardless of the subject. Other languages like Spanish and Arabic have very complex subject-verb agreement rules. The verb changes with each subject. So, for example, Spanish, speak. The verb is hablar. But, depending on the subject, you say, yo hablo, tú hablas, ella habla, nosotros hablamos, vosotros habláis, ellas hablan. So every subject has a different verb form. The same in Arabic for write. So you would say ana yaktubu, anta taktubu, huwa yaktubu, nahnu naktubu, antum taktubuna, hunna yaktubuna. So every form very different depending on the subject. As a result, in all of these languages, it is common not to say or write the subject pronoun like I, we, they. However, it is understood from context. There is a subject. You just don't have to say it. English, on the other hand, it only has three basic forms for verbs without helping verbs. You can have the base form, which is play, do, drive, or have. You can have the base plus S, which is plays, does, drives, has. Or you can have the past simple, played, did, drove, had. And that's it. Any other main verb would have to have a helping verb with it. You cannot tell the perspective, first, second, third, I, you, he, she, based on just the verb, except for third person singular. In English, you must explicitly say or write the subject of the clause. You have to pay attention to subject-verb agreement in two cases. The first is the be verb. The second is third person singular. Now, when I say you always have to have a subject, there is one situation where it is not necessary to explicitly write or say the subject. This is called the imperative voice. You use it for orders or directions like stand up, open your books, don't be late. In this case, the subject you is understood, but that's pretty much it. All right, I think that's enough of a background, so we'll finish this part and go on to part 1 in the next video of subject-verb agreement.